Hello and welcome to Car Retrospective, where I guess we can say it's Season 2. I was uploading these episodes fairly regularly last year, and then I just stopped, but now I return reinvigorated and with new knowledge, and to inaugurate the second rising of this series, let's take a look at a car that would be too perfect to avoid, the Toyota Supra. Let's have a look. The Toyota Supra's story begins long ago, but not with Toyota, instead with Datsun. Since 1969, the company had been manufacturing the Z car. While the name sounds practically prehistoric nowadays, the sports car proved to be very popular, especially in its home country of Japan, but it was also popular in the US market throughout the early 70s. Today it's known as the 350Z, or the 350Z for strange people. Toyota noticed this. It just so happened that they too were wanting to produce a flashy new sports car to add to their collection, and the Z car proved to be perfect inspiration. But to keep costs and time at a relative minimum, rather than designing a new competitor from the ground up, they would take another popular car of theirs, the Celica, specifically the Celica liftback, modify it, slap a special badge on it and put it out on the market. Job's a good one. It started with the engine. Typically, the Celica was fitted with an inline-4 engine, but this new version was to be a bit more sportier and make the world just that bit more warmer. So instead it was replaced by a straight 6, and two versions were offered, a 2 litre producing 110 horsepower or a 2.5 litre producing 123 horsepower. Because of the larger engine, the front of the car had to be remodelled and elongated. While everything from the doors backwards was what came standard on a Celica, the whole front part of the car was brand new. In the end, it was 5 inches longer than the regular version, which I would know a lot about. As per the usual, it was offered with a 4 or 5 speed manual, power windows, power locks, etc, all riveting factoids. The car in Japan was known not as the Supra but the Celica XX, and the car went on the market in April of 1978 in Japan and soon followed elsewhere, where it was instead simply called the Toyota Celica Supra, which in my opinion is a much cooler name. The next few years were relatively breezy. A 2.7 litre 117 horsepower version was introduced in 1980, as well as a sports package version featuring lettered tyres, sports suspension and front and rear spoilers. Exciting stuff. In 1981, however, Toyota decided that the old design was ugly and so redesigned the entire Celica lineup, and so the second generation Supra was born, also known as the A60. Pop-up headlights were the new star of the show here, like many other 80s cars, but general refinement and minuscule redesigns were added here and there. For the US market, both the P models, which stood for performance, and L models, which stood for luxury, were offered. No mechanical differences were present between the two, just different tyre sizes, wheel sizes and body trims. The car now sported a 2.7 litre inline-6 producing 147 horsepower, though over the next few years it was raised to 178 horsepower in certain models. But Toyota seemed fairly happy with the Celica Supra at this time. Only minor things were added over the intervening years, such as integrated sun flaps, which were revolutionary, but it was looking good. In 1986, however, Toyota finally took the plunge. Upon releasing the third generation of the car, also known as the A70, the bonds between Celica and Supra were finally cut. Now the line was officially known as the Toyota Supra. The engine had now summited the monumental 200 horsepower mark, now being able to produce, you guessed it, 200 horsepower as a 2.9 litre straight 6. A turbocharged variant was also added in 1987, capable of 231 horsepower, as well as having an engine oil cooler and an integrated rear spoiler. From 1987 to 1992, small adjustments and improvements were added to the car, but nothing major was changed. That was until 1993. The Supra that 99% of you will probably most recognise is the A80, also known as the 4th generation Supra, or the Mark IV. It was introduced in 1993 and features some of the most radical changes to the design of the car since its inception. The initial drafts for the car actually date all the way back to February of 1989, before final designs were ready by mid-1990. The A80 was much rounder in styling and was shorter than the previous versions. The A80 was also offered with one of two engines, either a very tame naturally aspirated 220 horsepower variant or a much more powerful twin turbocharged 276 horsepower 2JZ engine. As some of you may know, the 2JZ engine is something of a legend for many car enthusiasts. Reliable, insanely powerful and relatively easy to maintain, it's one of Toyota's greatest creations. There was also a European exclusive 2.9 litre straight six which could make 326 horsepower. Toyota's aim with the new version was to put much more focus on the side of performance as opposed to luxury, and that does show, particularly on the European version, which features a scoop on the bonnet. Then you know it's serious. Plus, lightweight material was used rather than traditional ones to further improve performance, with aluminium being used on a large part of the body. While the Supra was particularly successful on the road, it also saw a fulfilling career in the racing world. Most notably, the A70 was a viable contender in the Japanese Grand Touring Car Championship. Between September and October of 1988, 500 special cars known as the Turbo A's were manufactured to be homologated into the championship. There was also, of course, the Supra's lengthy drag racing legacy, most notably with the HKS team, who used both the Mark III and Mark IV Supras to showcase their power. Their Mark III, for example, was fitted with a carbon fibre body and a boosted engine capable of over 800 brake horsepower. The Supra even had a stint as a rally car, with an A70 managed in second at the 1983 British Open Rally Championship, and did particularly well in the 1987 Safari Rally. Until the final day when the engine overheated. Typical. But the Supra, in particular the A80, found a surprising amount of success in the media. While numerous games have featured the car, it was the 2001 film The Fast and the Furious that brought the Supra into the limelight of the masses, with Paul Walker using the car as his go-to vehicle throughout a large chunk of the film. In the end, beating Dom Toretto in a Charger may have been the catalyst for the Supra becoming an icon of car culture. But it all had to end. Despite the Supra's popularity, the car was discontinued to the worldwide market in 1998, due large in part to the decline in sales of sports cars in the North American market. While production of the car did continue for a Japan-only audience until August of 2002, the Supra only managed a 9-year lifespan in its current form. Its final form. Well, there's the Supra. Truly a fantastic car and one that will be remembered for generations. Or so you thought. Yes, the Supra name did die in the early 2000s, and while many hopeful individuals hoped that Toyota would revive the name eventually, the prospect of that began to look bleaker and bleaker. That was until January of 2014, when at the North American International Auto Show, Toyota unveiled a brand new concept car known as the FT1. While it wasn't clear if this new car would be graced with the Supra name, it was clear that this is what a potential modern day Supra would look like. The car was developed alongside BMW's new Z4 in Graz, Austria, and the 5th generation Supra, also known as the A90, was officially put on the market in May 2019 in Japan and in July in North America. The car was offered with either a turbocharged 255 horsepower straight 4 or a turbocharged 335 horsepower straight 6, both built by BMW. The Supra was back. Well, there is the actual Supra, a car with a confusing history perhaps hiding in the shade of other names for years, but when it finally broke away from the Celica name, the Supra really showed what Japanese engineering could achieve. With multiple appearances in popular media and a coveted motorsporting history, it really is an icon of the Japanese sports car. Now I just need to get my hands on one. Anyone selling?